Good morning, everybody. Good to see you all again this Sunday. How are we feeling today? All right, that's good. I'll take that. I'll take it. Ready? Standing outside the door of love and mercy, you wonder if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, but still you're searching for someone who understands the pain you've been through. While the door's unlocked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, come home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. You'll find the place of rest in the arms of spirit. God's waited so long for your homecoming day. God knows the peace you seek and the hurt you're feeling. Spirit wants to hold you and to wipe the tears away, while the Father waits with open arms. God is calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Well, there's room enough in the house of love for someone just like you. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, just come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, just come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, yes, come on in.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome this morning. It's so good to see all of you. I met a few of you, and some of you are just such familiar faces. It's a thrill to see you every Sunday morning. So we want to give special recognition to those who are tuning in on our live stream. Please know that you are part of our spiritual family, and we welcome you this morning. For those that don't know about our live stream accessibility, it's on our website, unitypompanobeach.org, and it goes live now and then is there all during the week until it's replaced next week. So if you happen to miss the Sunday service, you can go there during the week and catch up with it. I'm Bev Spivey. I'm co-ministering here with my husband, Reverend Lawrence Palmer. Still together. Coming up on 3 years. If you're rather new to this congregation, any of the ones that have been here longer than 3 years can fill you in on the whole backstory. It was one of those love at first sights.
The movie is in the
Second
development phase right now, so
Yeah.
we're currently working on a script.
And we want to welcome James McCoy, our music director, and our wonderful musicians.
Good morning. We have Mr. John Rose on the piano and background vocals today. We have Mr. Pedro Baroas on the drum set and the electric bass today. Mr. Gabriel Saenz is at the organ. And our featured soloist is Samantha Natalie on vocals and tambourine.
Our multi-talented musicians, how wonderful to have them with us. So let's begin by remembering what our theme is for the whole year. It's Courage to Imagine. As we take that seriously into our lives and recognizes those places where we've given up on imagination and we want to recreate that childlike ability and power we have to imagine and start our creativity. This month, we're talking about change, as Reverend Lawrence has been talking about race consciousness and the many changes that are among us and in our midst. So let us hold on to the idea of not being fearful of change, and let us take this affirmation together. As I embrace divine ideas, my consciousness is empowered to change race consciousness. Absolutely. And here our vision is, together, centered in God, we create an ever-expanding spiritual community of one, and our mission, together, we are a spiritual beacon of inspiration, abundance, and enlightenment. And let's just have a brief prayer as we center into this day, taking a breath together and releasing all of the morning, being ready now to be present in this moment, in this time, with those who have gathered for the same purpose this morning, to be in spiritual community, making the decision to put this priority above all else in our morning, in a place where there are many choices we can make on any given Sunday. We value our spiritual community. So here we are to share in it, to give and receive, to bless each other, and through our blessing to the world. And so it is. Amen. And let us say together, pray together our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. And now let's stand and sing together.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. Well, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Ooh, I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Ooh, it's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yeah, saying it's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yeah, oh, it's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
And if you're here for the very first time, we want to welcome you to our bright, sunshiny day. If you wouldn't mind just putting your hand up so we can give you our welcome brochure. We welcome anybody who's with us for the very first time. No, we know Jesus has been here. Good to have all of you folks. Thank you for checking us out today. That brochure will tell you about the Unity movement, if you're not familiar with Unity. It will tell you about this spiritual center, and it will give our contact information, and we invite you to share yours. There are contact forms in the brochures. They are also in the chair backs, so we want you to feel at home here. After every service, we always have fellowship time next door in Fellowship Hall, and you are very welcome, all of you, to come over there so we can socialize it together, get to know each other a little bit better. Prayer is also very important here. We have prayer chaplains available who have dedicated their service to us as prayer chaplains, praying with us every single day as their prayer discipline and service. They are available for a half hour before every Sunday morning service. So beginning at 10:30, there's a prayer chapel, the first room on the right. They are in there where you're welcome to be for private prayer in a quiet space on your own or with a chaplain. They are also available at the end of service where we invite you to take advantage of affirmative prayer, Unity style. We have lots of things going on as usual, but today Lawrence is going to be giving us a workshop on intuition, and it begins at 1 o'clock in Fellowship Hall. Now, as is our custom, we have lunch before that so that no one has to dash out and try to get back by 1 o'clock. Today, how many are attending the workshop? If you haven't signed up, yes, you're welcome to still come to that. Everybody is welcome. But I want to give special recognition to 3 who have prepared our food for the workshop, and that would be Judy and Melissa and Ellen. Would you 3 raise your hands? Thank you so much. Because of their gift this morning, we are not charging for the workshop luncheon. So if you are not going to the luncheon, if you are not going to the workshop, we would ask that you go straight into Fellowship Hall where, don't worry, we've got snacks for you there too. But anybody that plans to go to the workshop, we need you to go right there through the garden door, through our Myrtle Fillmore Rose Garden, into that door so they may serve us a quick luncheon, and then we will be ready in Fellowship Hall at 1 o'clock to begin our workshop. So we encourage everybody to stay if you can. We have plenty of food, so take advantage of the workshop if you can. We also have a wonderful class going on. This will be our 3rd week of 7. You are welcome to come if you haven't been before. This is one of those where if you're not in town, you're working, you can only come once in a while, that's okay too. Come and join in the class discussion, the class getting to know each other. We are a place where community is important to us, and coming out for classes and activities is one way to get to know people. This is facilitated by our licensed teacher, Cynthia Roberts, and by Ron Smith, the leader of our prayer chaplains, and it's on a very important topic of self-awareness. So we invite you to come out to that on Tuesday nights. Our Healing Vibrations is ongoing every Thursday night at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. This particular next 2 weeks are going to be guided meditations led by our prayer chaplains. And we will go ahead and meet here in this prayerful space on a Thursday night. So please come out for April 19th and April 26th for our prayer chaplains leading us. The first week will be a guided meditation experience. The next week will be meditation, but it will also include some pointers on how Unity prays affirmatively. Some of you have said, you know, I've changed all of my ideas that I was raised with, and I think of God in different ways, but I really don't know how to pray. So that's what that's about. So come on out for that on the 26th. Next Sunday, Reverend Louise is going to be giving your lesson during Sunday service. This is Reverend Louise Morley, if you haven't met her yet. Lawrence and I will be, we will be away. We will be in the Bahamas, and if the internet holds up, we will see you by live stream. But we're going to take advantage of a week away. We will be available by email, not cell phone, but email. And obviously, Becky will be in the office. You can reach us that way, too. So we will be welcoming Reverend Louise for our Sunday lesson next week. Please come out and support her in that. And I believe that concludes everything. Let's stand now and greet each other.
Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Right now, we need your presence near. Shower down your grace, so revive us again. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. House is ready, every heart is prepared. Sit at the welcome table and be blessed. This celebration is in your honor. You're invited to remain. You got a standing invitation to inhabit your praise. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Right now, we need your presence near. Shower down your grace, so revive us again. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Our souls are hungry and our spirits are dry. We need food and water from on high. So when you shower down bread from heaven, feed us till we need no more. Lord, we're depending on you for all the help we need. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Right now, we need your presence near. Shower down your grace, so revive us again. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. We cannot move without your power. No, no. Descend on us this very hour. Lord, breathe on us now. Break up the fallow ground. You know that only you can move your people again. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here right now. Right now, we need your presence near. Shower down your grace, so revive us again. Holy Spirit, you are welcome. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here right now. Right now, we need your presence near. Shower down your grace, Lord, revive us again. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here.
Good morning, Unity. Everybody will take their seats, please. Hello.
And when the music stops, we all sit down. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Francine Ramirez, and I'm reading the Daily Word today on prosperity. I am open to divine ideas. Divine ideas are like seeds of hope planted in my heart. When they are properly nurtured and tended, they produce the manifestations in my life that represent abundance and prosperity to my own mind and soul. I might be surprised at some of the ideas that pop into my mind and might not see how they could possibly come about. Being open to divine ideas involves a large degree of surrender to the source of those ideas within me. My prosperity is not dependent on my limited mortal mind. I make the choice for prosperity, open my mind to divine ideas, and allow them to guide me to next steps and new possibilities. And the scripture is from 3 John 1:2. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul.
And right now, as the prayer chest comes forward, we'd like to begin a time of prayer and meditation by singing together, I Am at Peace.
I am at peace, I am at peace, I am one with the Spirit, I am calm, I am still, I am doing God's will, I am at peace, I am at peace, I am one with the Spirit, and I dwell in the presence of the Lord. I am at peace, I am at peace, I am one with the Spirit, I am calm, I am still, I am doing God's will, I am at peace, I am at peace, I am one with the Spirit, and I dwell in the presence of the Lord, and I dwell in the presence of the Lord.
I invite you now to find that very comfortable and familiar position for your body. And as you settle into that position, you can give your body permission to relax, to let go, to let be. And with that loving permission, your body will immediately move its focus from the outer to the inner. And you can give your mind that same permission just to be. And with every breath, body and mind become more and more at ease. I was thinking as the prayer chest was coming up, we have this place to put our prayer requests where they are enfolded in the love of this congregation, this community. And it reminded me that we each have a place as well in the heart of God. We each have a place in the heart of this community. We each are enfolded in that pure presence of being. And we are at home. Wherever we are, we find that presence and we find home. So settle comfortably and easily into this space of home, knowing that you are loved, that you are affirmed, that you are enfolded in that pure presence. So with our awareness free to commune with Spirit, let us be present. Let us soak in that pure light of Spirit. Let us be transformed. Let us be healed. Let us be. Let us be together. And now as you prepare to move your awareness to your body, back to this time, to this space, you know that even an instant during which your awareness is immersed in that deep of your heart, that healing and transformation take place. And you know that you can bring into your body, your heart, your mind, the essence of this experience in the stillness. And in this coming week, as you choose to, you can take a deep breath and recall this time, this blessing, and be blessed once again. So with a deep sense of gratitude for this experience together, I invite you to take a deep, slow breath in through your nose, hold it for a moment, and exhale slowly through your mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and we will sing together, Alleluia.
When I was a boy each week, Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two. Jesus turned the water wine. I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare and best, barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-downs. Now I'm walking with the reverend there, 'cause everything is holy now. 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 Read a questioning child's face. Say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to see. See another new morning come. Say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird, shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. Made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then, 'cause everything is holy now. Used to be a world out there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-downs. Now I'm walking with a rarity, 'cause everything is holy now. 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 Yeah. Thank you. It's the music of Peter Mayer.
Thank you, band. My goodness, that's always wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. You know, sometimes people tend to think that ministers walk around with holy thoughts in their mind all the time. But every once in a while, things run through my head. I don't know why. And I was just remembering a story. Yeah. Years ago, I was a minister of a little Baptist church way out in the country in one of the most notorious bootlegging and moonshining areas in Mississippi. I had my work cut out for me, but there was a Pentecostal church down the road where a lot of the family of my members went. And they used to always tell me stories about the revivals where they were rolling around on the floor and doing all the things that they enjoyed doing. And one lady in particular was very fervent about her faith. And one night, they were having this great service and everything was going great. And she jumped up and she said, "Woo, I got the Spirit down in my whoopee." I wouldn't say that this morning, but hadn't this felt pretty good this morning? Yeah? That the Spirit is among us and in us in a lot of ways. Now, I have been sharing with you for the last several weeks about race consciousness, human race consciousness. I began with the structure of race consciousness. What is it all about? And I gave you a definition from Charles Fillmore where he said that the human race has formed laws of physical birth and death, laws of sickness and physical inability, laws making food the source of bodily existence, laws of mind that recognize no other source of existence except the physical. The sum total of these laws forms a race consciousness separate from and independent of creative mind. When creative mind sought to help men spiritually, the mind of flesh opposed it and made every effort to solve its problems in its own way. So we took a look at this race consciousness in which we live. And at best, we are under the influence of race consciousness, and at worst, we are slaves to it. It's been here for a long, long time. Now, on Easter Sunday, we took a bit of a departure from traditional Easter ideas, and I suggested to you that Jesus came not to shed his innocent blood and cover up our sin so we didn't have to go to hell, but Jesus came to change race consciousness, this body of thought that we have thought for so long that we believe it's law to us. Jesus came to change that. He came and put a bright spot right in the middle of it that we could focus on, and from that place we could do what he did and live like he lived and think like he thought and challenge race consciousness. So Jesus began the dismantling of race consciousness when he said, you have heard it said this and this and this, but I say to you this. He said, you've heard all these years that this is the way to live, but I'm telling you there's a better way to live. You've seen all these years how people were living, but I'm saying live like I live. Do what I do. Love like I love. And he began that change in race consciousness that we can follow. The next week, which was last week, I shared with you about the evolution of race consciousness and how it has changed through the years. It's not finished yet, but it has been changing all along the way. Some of the ideas that humankind has held are beginning to change. Look at our world today. Look at the ways that we are saying no to race consciousness. No to those old ways that we've been blindly following. We're going another way, and that's exciting. And even though we've been talking about this as well, this is a challenge to the church. Because in a lot of ways, these people, the people in the time, the millennials and those who came after, are mostly spiritual but not religious. And for a lot of churches, that spells doom because they're not coming to church like they used to. But there is a spiritual transformation happening. There's a spiritual revolution happening where people are saying no to race consciousness and creating something new. So that is evolving all the time, and we have a choice of either being a part of that or leaving our fingernail marks dragging behind us as we're being pulled into the future. I prefer to choose to be a part of it. I prefer to make my own mind up about how I'm going to participate, and I suspect that all of you feel that way, or you wouldn't be in this strange place, right? Yeah. So race consciousness is indeed evolving, but I want to take it a step further today, a real stretch, if you will, today, and talk about the clearing of race consciousness. What would happen if we could do away with race consciousness? Now, there's a passage of Scripture in the 7th chapter of John where Jesus said, whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them. As a kid, I was fascinated by that verse. Rivers of living water flowing out from within us. And I've always had a really great imagination. And that just set my mind on fire. Imagining the rivers of living water, the energy pouring out from us out into the world all around us. That is a great image. And that is where we're headed. That is the alternative to race consciousness. Living in such a way that Spirit flows freely through us and out of us into the world is such an incredible contrast to race consciousness, which says, no, you have to stay in this little box right here, and this is everything you can't do. You can't live that way. You can't think those things. You can't feel those things. But we know different now. Now, what would happen if I had a magic wand and I could go poof, and race consciousness was gone? Done away with. You have a blank slate. Nothing that's going to pressure you into acting any certain way. Nothing's going to pressure you into thinking a certain way or being a certain way. You have the choice of what you're going to do, what you're going to think, what you're going to feel. Does that scare any of you? Think about being without that. Because you know we get used to our misery. Most human beings, well, let me back up on that. I won't say most anymore because things are changing, as I've already stated. Many people still are stuck in that place where they'd rather be miserable than have nothing. I remember one time in my own life, I said I'd rather be in pain than be bored. And I have regretted that because that played out for me along the way, and I'm changing that now. Be very different there. But imagine that you don't have the misery. What are you going to have if you don't have the misery? You see, a lot of people get up every morning and they know this day is going to be hell. And there's a certain comfort in that. There's no ambiguity. There's no uncertainty. I know it's going to be miserable. It's going to be hard. My luck's going to show up like it always does. Surely none of you ever say that. But it's sometimes easier to know what's going to happen, even though it's miserable, than to not know and take a shot. The day might be good, the day might be challenging. I might get what I want, I might get none of what I want. Knowing that I'm not going to get anything that I want is somehow comforting for some people, but we're changing that. So suppose we could do away with race consciousness. No more of that default built into us that we've got to act or feel or think a certain way. How are we going to address that? How are we going to deal with that? Now, we've done some things down through the years to make a difference there, but not all of it yet. Now, some of you have been to a psychic to get a reading sometime along the way, right? No, you don't have to raise your hand. I know you. I know who's here. Some of you have gone to get your tarot cards read. Yeah? Some of you have had your palm read. Some of you have had your eyes read. And some of you have worked with people called intuitives. I worked with a medical intuitive not long ago to figure out some stuff that's going on in my body. I probably won't do it again because I learned some things. We do those things because we believe that somebody else knows something that we don't. Why else would you consult a psychic? Now, and please don't hear me saying there's anything wrong with that. We do what we need to do at the time we need to do it. And I've known people, I know some people who are very sensitive, very intuitive, that help people along the way. But why do we need somebody else to tell us what's going on in us? We do right now because race consciousness tells you that you can't know that. You're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not spiritual enough, you're not something enough, but somebody else is. So you go to those people and have them tell you what you need to know about you. Does that strike any of you as odd? It does me at this point. It didn't not too long ago. But we look outside of ourselves because that's what race consciousness told us to do. But remember, we just did away with race consciousness. You have no ideas in your head that you're not good enough. You have no ideas in your head that you need somebody else to tell you what to do. What are you going to do? You're going to be your own intuitive. And by the way, we're going to have a great workshop this afternoon on intuition. We're going to have a great time doing that. But what you tell you, what Spirit tells you when race consciousness is out of the way, is that you have an innate intuition within you that will serve you if you will let it. And God bless those people who are going to have to find something else to do when you stop asking them for them to tell you what to do, because you're going to know yourself. You're going to know what to do for yourself. That's where we're headed. Now, don't hear me saying that this is a possibility. Don't hear me saying that we might do this when we finally make it happen, when we really get our stuff together, that we're going to be able to do away with race consciousness. This is our destiny. This is what we were built for. This is where we're headed. This is what is within us. So we can step out and be up front, or we can drag up the end of the line, wishing something to be different and easier. But we can make that difference of saying race consciousness has no effect over me anymore. And when it comes up, you recognize it and you say, no, that's not my path anymore. When that race consciousness rises up out of somebody else's mouth and says, oh, you need this, and you can say from the depths of your heart, no, I don't, because I've got everything I need right here, right now. I don't need somebody else to tell me what to do. I did at one point. And it was good to have some advice and some guidance from somebody else. But now, I know the truth. I know that Spirit is in me. I know that rivers of living water are flowing out from me. And I don't need somebody else to tell me what's going on within me. Can you imagine that? How liberating does that feel? To be able to do that for yourself. Now, race consciousness says that you have to work hard. And what does Scripture say? You earn your bread. Come on, you know that one. By the sweat of your brow. You've heard that one all along the way. What does that tell you? Race consciousness says life has to be hard. You have to work and you have to be just a little bit miserable. And suffering is somehow noble. And we bought into that for a long time. But what if we're coming to that point where we say no to that? That's not the way life has to be. Because of my intuition, I know what's going on in me. I know what is mine to do. And when I do what is mine to do, I can do it with joy. And I can do it with power because it is mine to do right here, right now. Can you see the shift that's happening? And we finally are able to say to race consciousness, no, that's not my path anymore. We get to decide what our path is. And we can do that because we can. You and I have within us all the wisdom that we need. We have within us all the power that we need, all the understanding that we need, all of everything that you need, you have. Because you are God being you. And you get to decide, not some race consciousness that's hung around for eons and has not been very good at guiding us in the first place. You get to do that for yourself. Now, you are the thinker. Very often we think that we are our thoughts, but you're not. Your thoughts are yours. You are thinking. You are the thinker. So when a thought comes into your mind that really is not serving you, it's not a thought that supports your highest good, because you're the thinker, you can say, no, that's not what I want to think. I'm going to turn my thoughts in another direction. And I'm going to think thoughts of truth and power and peace and love and joy. And when we do that, those thoughts that do not serve us, we don't have to fight anymore. Race consciousness says you have to fight the thoughts in your mind. You have to fight those evil thoughts, those dark thoughts. You have to fight them, push them aside, overcome them. Let me ask you this. How many of you walk into a dark room and flip the switch and say, darkness be gone? Go away. And you struggle with the darkness to make it go away? Isn't that ridiculous? What do? You turn the light on. And when the light comes on, what happens to the darkness? It's gone. Why would it be any different in us? When we follow the truth that is in us and we think those thoughts that are consistent with divine ideas, when we think those thoughts of love and peace and joy, we don't have to scream at the darkness. We turn the light on. And when you fill your mind with those thoughts that resonate with truth, the darkness is gone. It cannot be there. Where is the struggle? Where does it have to be so hard? It doesn't. With our feelings, how many of you at one time or another have thought you had no control over your feelings? I've felt that way. I believed that at some point. I don't anymore. Just as I am the thinker, I am the feeler. I get to decide what my feelings are, not some ancient race consciousness is hanging around, not somebody else who has a problem and wants it to be mine. I am the feeler, and I get to feel what I want to. And if a feeling comes up from an echo of a memory that doesn't serve me and doesn't support my highest good, I can say, no, that is not the feeling that I'm going to hold in my heart. And just as with the light, when I hold a feeling of love and peace and joy and happiness and purpose and meaning, there can be no dark in my heart. There is no room for that. It is so full of everything else. As a kid growing up in the Baptist church, I'm not sure whether it wasn't taught or I just wasn't of a mindset to pick it up. But I always thought that, there's so many good things that Jesus taught that I heard about in Sunday school. If I do everything Jesus told me to do good, I don't have time to do anything bad. If I focus on the truth, there's no room for the false. If I focus on the feelings that support my highest good, there is no room for those feelings that take me in another direction. So with our mind full of light, full of thoughts of joy, full of thoughts of truth, with my heart full of feelings of truth, guess where it shows up? The body is the outpicturing of soul, of your mind. And I've struggled with this one because my body hasn't been kind to me lately, or for a while now, and I'm rethinking all of that. And it's kind of hard to accept that when I'm going to do a sermon one time about the hard sayings of unity. I won't tell you when it's going to happen, but I'll tell you it's going to happen. And in next month, I'll be sharing with you 4 things that you cannot do. And 4 things you'll never hear in unity. And 4 affirmations and 4 aspirations. That's for the month of May. That's coming, not now. When our hearts are full, when our minds are full of truth, guess what's going to manifest in our body? When I stop believing that my body can be sick. You realize that's where it all starts? If you have any kind of illness going on, I'm having some things with arthritis. Somewhere I believe that my body can experience arthritis. or it wouldn't happen. It can't. When I come to the place of being able to say absolutely without any doubt, my body does not hold illness in any form whatsoever, there will be none. When I'm able to hold pure ease in my mind and in my heart, there will be no dis-ease showing up in my body. When I'm able to hold balance in my mind and in my heart, there will be no imbalance showing up in my body. When I'm able to align my mind, my thoughts, my heart, my feelings, there will be no misalignment in my body. This is what we were made for. This is not some wishful thinking. This is something that we might do when we're perfect. This is what we are. And this race consciousness stuff is the falsehood. Do you realize that the life that most people consider normal is incredibly subnormal? It's been my mantra, my prayer for a long time. Dear God, please don't let me be normal. And that prayer has been answered in spades, I'll tell you. Or so I've been told. But what if we come to that place of putting race consciousness aside? We come to that place where our mind is so full of truth thoughts and our hearts are so full of truth feelings that what shows up in the outer has to match up with that. And this wonderful song that the band presented earlier. What happens when miracles become an everyday occurrence? They're normal. That's what's supposed to be happening. When somebody says, well, I caught a cold yesterday and it was gone by 4 o'clock. People say, ooh. Why are we so amazed? That's the way it's supposed to be. And I had an encounter with somebody and I got my feelings hurt, but I got over it in 10 minutes. That's the way it's supposed to be. We're resilient. And we have all of that within us. What's going to happen when we don't believe that we are broken anymore? Now, don't misunderstand me here. I am so pleased that we have the 12-step groups around that serve people. And I've known people whose lives have literally been saved by that. But you know what's going to happen? When we don't believe we're broken anymore, we're not going to need any support groups. When we don't believe that something is wrong with us, we're not going to need healing anymore. We will be recovered, we will be healed, and we will live out that. And the energy that we pour into that experience previously will now be put into pouring it into the planet and pouring out for the rest of those people who haven't quite seen things yet and haven't quite gotten it yet. We can be a constant presence of light and love and encouragement and strength for them. What's going to happen when we realize and we know that we can't be hurt, we can't be harmed, so there's no place for forgiveness. The folks that have been teaching forgiveness workshops for a long time are going to have to do something else. Because when we don't believe that we can be hurt, there is no need for forgiveness. I can tell all of you are just as excited about this as I am. This is our destiny. This is not wishful thinking. This is not something that happens in a fairy tale. This is not something that happens in some fantasy novel. This is us. This is real. We are made to hold in our minds perfect alignment with Spirit. We are made to hold in our hearts the feelings that are perfectly aligned with Spirit, and we are made to live in this human body reflecting that perfection. What are you going to do if you stop aging? Can't complain anymore, can you? You'll miss it at first. You think you will. But if we're in perfect harmony, we're in perfect alignment, we are at perfect ease, there will be no aging. And what will happen then is you'll have to choose when you leave here. Most people leave here because they get old and their body breaks down and wears out and then they have to die and leave here. What if you never died? You would have to make the choice of when it was time to go. And at this point, that may seem kind of strange to us, but it's not strange at all. How many of you, when you got to the 12th grade in high school, seniors, going to graduate, how many of you said, well, I think I'll just hang around for a little while longer here? Yeah? just hang out and see what's going on. No, it was time to move on. And when we get to the place in our life where there is no more aging and there is no more death, we can say, well, it's time for me to move on to something else now. And either do something else here or do it somewhere else and say, bye. You've read the stories about people who died intentionally, without being sick, without being terminal, but saying, I have done what is mine to do. I'm done. There's something else for me to do somewhere else. And we say, ooh. What if that's normal? What if that is natural? Have you heard of somebody dying of natural causes? You know what an oxymoron is? Dying of natural causes when the natural thing for us is life. We've got some work to do, folks. We've got some realizing to do, some awareness. It's time for us to step up and do for ourselves what needs to be done and not for somebody else. And let me share this. I wasn't going to tell you about this, but for some reason it seems important. Wednesday night, a week and a half ago, I was needing some time for me, and I decided that I'm going to pray all day. I'm going to spend the whole day in prayer and contemplation and thinking about things and listening to some great teachers. And then from midnight until 6 a.m., I was right here meditating all night. Now, some of you are inching up on your seat now waiting, saying, oh, wow, I can't wait to hear what happened. I'm not going to tell you. Because if you want to know what happens when you pray all day and meditate all night, do it for yourself. You don't need me to tell you that, and you don't need anybody else to tell you that. You have everything in you that you need to know that, to experience that. So will you imagine with me that race consciousness is gone? It is useless. You put it aside like you would an old pair of shoes that just don't serve you anymore. And you know a different way, a way of holding truth principles, truth thoughts in your mind, and holding truth feelings in your heart and manifesting that out into the world through your body. That's who you are. That's who Spirit is in you. Let us go forward. Let us go forward. Clear out all the old stuff that doesn't serve you, and you choose what gets to be your destiny. You choose what gets to be your thoughts, what gets to be your feelings, what gets to be your manifestation out in the world. It's all up to you. I can't wait to see what happens. God bless you.
Well, we want to use this time now to appreciate all of you who serve here with your many forms of service. Special thanks to those who step up when we have a luncheon, or if you enjoy our fellowship time every week, know that there are volunteers who make those little sandwiches for you, who make the special little treats, and do appreciate them by putting some money in those love jars that are in Fellowship Hall, because in Unity we really do believe that you don't get something for nothing. So get in the habit of putting your hand out to give, and then it's right there open to receive. And we receive so much here. So right now we ask that you take your gift in your hand. Special thanks to those of you who pay by bill pay and by credit card online to keep the consistency. Special thanks to those of you who have made a commitment for the year. We just appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate the children. Where are our children? We appreciate the little ones. Yes. Oh, we will have an active Sunday school here someday. It starts like this, and we've got Catherine too. So would you please hold your gift in your hand and let us bless it together. I give as an act of joy. As we have been blessed through the Creator's good pleasure, so are our gifts drenched in joy. And we continue. Today, I declare joy for myself and all others. Joy is mine. Joy and more joy is mine. Everywhere I go, I see joy. I feel it. I experience it. I freely give it. And it multiplies itself around me. And so it is. Amen.
We got this song from Aretha Franklin. Back there in 1972, she recorded a gospel album, a live album. We got this song. This is called Climbing Higher Mountains on My Way Home.
You know I'm climbing higher mountains on my way home. I said I'm climbing higher mountains on my way home. Ooh, I'm climbing higher mountains on my way home. Ooh, said I'm climbing higher mountains on my way home. You know my road has been a little rocky on my way home. I said my road been a little rocky on my way home. I said my road been a little rocky on that long, long way home. Oh, my road has been a little rocky on my way home. You know I'm climbing higher mountains on my way home. Yes, you said I'm climbing higher mountains on my way home. Ooh, I know I'm climbing higher and higher. Ooh, higher and higher. Hey, I've been climbing those mountains all the way home. Higher and higher, oh, higher and higher. Ooh, higher and higher. Climbing higher and higher. All right, higher and higher. Ooh, higher and higher. Climbing, climbing those mountains.
Break it down.
Higher and higher. Higher and higher. Ooh, higher and higher. Sing it with me. Yeah. Higher and higher. Yeah. Higher and higher. Ooh, higher and higher. Oh, I'm climbing those mountains on my way home. I said I'm climbing higher mountains. So high, 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 higher and higher. Climbing, climbing, climbing higher mountains. Climbing, climbing, climbing higher mountains. Climbing higher mountains on my way back home. You know I'm climbing higher mountains on my way home, on my way
Catherine, why don't you come up and lead us in the closing? Our prayer chaplains are taking their spots along the aisles. You're welcome to share an affirmative prayer with them. And our Sunday school extraordinaire will lead us as we all stand together for our prayer for protection. Remember, if you're going to the workshop, please go through the garden door and be served. And we'll meet everybody together in Fellowship Hall where we'll eat together. Catherine?
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth and great Sunday, everybody. Blessings are falling.